gentlemen, put your hands together for the best damn sports show weekly.
Coming to the room on a Sunday afternoon. Nyo Weekly, lowering the boom. Step into the room on a Sunday afternoon, and it's Nyo Weekly, lowering the boom.
Make some noise for your host, Nico.
Lowering the boom.
Suave. Make some noise for the OG.
Lowering the boom.
950 Cav.
Lowering the boom.
And TJ Jones.
Lowering the boom. Step into the room on a Sunday afternoon, and it's Nyo Weekly, lowering the boom. Step into the room on a Sunday afternoon, and it's Nyo Weekly, lowering the boom.
What's going on, people? Welcome back, Nyo Weekly. Myself and OG, we here, man. We here. You know, we here. OG's in Houston, so he's technically not here, but you get it. But before we get started, happy Mother's Day to all the ladies. And if you got kids, God kids, whatever, you're a mother to somebody. Happy Mother's Day from Nyo Weekly.
Happy Mother's Day.
Well, on this fine Mother's Day, we got some conference semifinal games.
Oh, here we go.
We got the playoffs in general.
Right.
We got the playoffs in general. So, my question for you: which team right now that's down 1-2 can go down 1-3? I got one. I think OKC playing today, they got a chance because you had your chance when Jokic had that terrible game the other night, and they still beat you in overtime. So my question for you: who do you think has the? I ain't gonna say the best chance, but who has the worst timing of being
3-1.
Down 3-1.
OKC is one. I think that I don't even know. This series is crazy.
Each of them are.
The Warriors, I don't know.
I think they need Steph. People can say all day long, we got Jimmy and Buddy. It's like, yeah, but they ain't Steph.
And I can see, I'm not going to lie, I can see Boston going down 3-1 today. Monday. They play today or Monday?
Tomorrow. They played last night, but yesterday about 2.
In the afternoon, that's right. Yeah, so I can see Boston going, I don't know.
And they won big. They won big. They put, belt to ass on the Knicks in New York.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be interesting to see, man, how this thing go. Because, I think if I'm Cleveland, you got to come out firing on all cylinders again, because you can mess around, go down 1-3, and then you really in a bind, because now Darius Garland, he came back, he looked good. Mobley, he didn't play game 2, but he looked good in game 3. I think Cleveland and the OKC, which would be crazy that the 2 number 1 seeds are on the verge of losing in 5. I don't think we've ever seen that. And even like you say with Boston, that game 2 was terrible. You let them just walk you down. Then you look good yesterday, but they had some spurts. But Boston kept their foot on their neck. And a lot of people think they can still win in 6. I think, saying you got to win in 6, you would have to win in New York 3 times.
Twice. Yeah. Well, no,
Well,
they
I'm
got the home
saying
court advantage.
you would have to win Game 6 in New York, though. Just to
Yeah, you have to win. You have to
hypothetically.
win twice in New York. You have to win twice.
No, I'm saying if they was to win in 6, they would have to win. They won yesterday. They would have to win tomorrow, and then they would have to win Game 6 in New York. I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening because let's be honest. New York is a tough team, but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see.
I'm just waiting for someone in that series, the home team, to win the game. I don't remember too many series where the home team has not yet won in a series.
You could say the same thing about that Cleveland series, them in Indiana.
Yeah, same thing.
It's
weird to me. That's weird.
It's interesting, but we could have a. I'm just thinking ahead. We could have a conference finals when the number 1 in both conferences and the number 2 in the East, none of them made it to the playoffs. I mean, to the conference finals. That would be crazy. That would be crazy.
That's why they roll them out and jump the balls, is because you can't go by paper.
T. Jones, what's up, my guy?
What's up, fellas?
How you doing?
What up, T?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Good, man. You doing good? You doing I'm sure you're doing better that your Wolves won last night.
Yeah, of course. When your team wins, you feel better. Right?
But see, before you came on, I was asking, it's not really a good thing, but who has the worst chance to go down 1-3 going forward in these playoffs? I told him already. I think OKC might be in trouble because you didn't beat them when Jokic had his worst game. You might not beat him when he has his best game.
The thing about OKC to me is that they just can't finish.
I agree.
That's to me, that's just my opinion. But and they got some good players, and I mean they're a number 1 seed for a reason. But you got to finish, and that's where I think that people they misunderstand how important having playoff experience really is.
Mm-hmm.
I think we saw that last year with Indiana, that down the stretch that they kind of messed some things up. So
yeah.
I mean,
they made it to the conference finals, right? Indiana, right? They lost to Boston, I believe.
Yeah, so we're in Boston. Yeah,
Boston got them in like 5 or something.
But remember, there's a couple of games where they lost in the last couple of seconds.
Yeah.
So so I think that playoff experience is very, very important. I mean OKC, but Golden State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a given without Curry. I think that's a given.
Well, yeah, and you're right. And I think I said this earlier when the playoffs started, that I was a little scared about Minnesota because they were a Jekyll and Hyde team, and I think right now they're still not playing their best basketball. Because if you look at game 1, they lost game 1. Game 2, they came out and blew them out. But last night, they had some chances and they just, but they still won.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
So, all right, well, since you're on your team, what would it take for y'all to win in 5? I mean,
stop turning the ball over. I mean, there's and I don't know how much of the game you guys watched last night, but there's a couple times where Julius Randle threw the ball away, over Mike Conley's head. There's a couple times where Andrew was driving in the middle and he was trying to get to Gobert, but he threw it right into Looney's hands. It's stuff like that. You're just like, it's not. They're unforced turnovers. So and they just got to play a little bit better defense as well. And they're a good defensive team, and don't get me wrong, Golden State's a good defensive team as well. So,
no, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. But like I was like I was telling, I think really all of these series, I could see Boston land another egg in New York. Because like I was telling him, it's going to be hard to beat New York 3 times in New York. Because a lot of people think they could do a backdoor sweep. I'm like, I don't see that happening. You win in 4 straight. Because I don't see New York making those same mistakes that they did yesterday.
Okay, so let me ask you both this: if New York does beat Boston, which we think it can happen, right? I mean, is this like one of the biggest collapses of a number 1 team? Because in history, we have not seen a team where they've been up by 20 in 2 games and they lose those games, and they're the number 1 seed. So you guys tell me, is that one of the biggest collapses we'll ever see?
With Boston, I think you're right about that, but also you have to put a reminder that last year they really didn't play nobody with their stars. Every team that they played in the playoffs, the stars were hurt. So I think that was that false confidence coming into the playoffs, and now that they're playing against the stars, they're starting to see that their team is not what everybody thought it was. But I do agree with you. That's second seed at home, and you having 20-point leads, and you lose them both at home.
Yeah,
that's a problem. That's a real problem.
What do you think, Suave?
I gotta agree with O. Not only did you lose, but you lose at home, back to back, and they pretty much walked you down essentially. Yeah. And in both games, you had a chance to win the game at the end, thanks to Mikal Bridges. You didn't. One with the strip, and then game 2 with the block. So, if I'm Boston, you might want to play in New York. Because you ain't got no pressure. It's like, hey, dog, we not the home team. Because it just, to me, that psyche may start to creep in. Hey, we up 20, but it's only 5 minutes left in the third quarter. That's a lot of time in an NBA game. That's a lot of time.
Exactly. No, I agree with you. It's not, it's not like if you're up 20 in the NFL or Major League Baseball with 5 minutes to go.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So let's say that Boston does lose the series. Okay. Do they make some changes on the defensive side? Because their best defensive player is Drew Holiday. Other than that, and it may be Horford, right? And White. But other than that,
I would say White. I would throw White in there.
But then after that, I mean,
you may have a point.
Is it defense or shot selection when you're up by 20 and you're still jacking up threes?
You know what? I think it's both. I really think
it's both
right. Yeah, because again, if we're watching a game, you see how many threes they're jacking up, and we know this is the NBA. Sometimes I'm sitting there watching this like the middle's open, drive to the hole, right?
Really, the middle's always open, but they choose to.
Yeah,
everybody want to be Steph.
And I
for real, like you want to, bro,
you're right.
Shooting it, and then you got 20 seconds left in the shot clock. Get a better shot.
And I will say this about the Wolves. This is where I think Chris Finch is a really good coach, because we saw that Ant wasn't really hitting threes in the last 3 games, and he told him, like, look, they're giving you the middle drive, and he started driving, and I think that gives you a little bit of confidence as well if you hit the mid range as well, right? So
yeah,
but again,
I think if I'm defending Ant, I want him to shoot threes.
Yes.
I'd rather him shoot a 3 than come down the paint. So I would back off of him, let him shoot all night.
I was gonna say that's easier said than done, because that boy he can get around you.
But you play the percentages. So I'd rather him shoot a 3.
I'm just saying, you it's tricky because he can take you off the dribble too. So it's like,
But that's the whole point, Swab. I'll give him the three and give him room to shoot. He's not going around me if I give him room.
Well, especially if he's in a slump, right? So,
Yeah.
So you're like, yeah, but but also too, they've been double teaming him a lot. They've been trying to trap him, and and he's good at finding the open man. But sometimes when he jacks those threes and he's not hitting, you're just like, then all of a sudden, last night he started driving, just like he is definitely one of the best jumpers off of 2 feet that we've seen in a long time.
No, yeah.
And then Julius Randle came up big last night with the triple dub.
Yes, his first one. And I said this before about that trade. I still didn't like the trade.
Mm-hmm.
And Julius, he's done some wonderful things. But the thing is, Julius he's a free agent. And with his performance, somebody may come at him with a bigger bag than what the Wolves can give him. And so now you traded one of your all-stars, and you're left with nothing for a year, right? So
yeah, that's true.
He's unrestricted or restricted free agent?
He's unrestricted free agent.
Yeah. Would you want them to bring him back? Like, just say, if he keeps on this trajectory the rest of the playoff?
Oh, yeah. You know what? Even though that he missed like 17 games to an injury, he still has played well. He really has.
Yeah.
So, but you have to fill that void unless they have something in place that they're like, okay, we're going to go this free agent. But, you don't know until it happens. Mm-hmm. But if you can keep him, why not, right?
Yeah. Because I think him and DiVincenzo has been big for y'all in certain, points of the games, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think DiVincenzo, he's on a trying to prove himself too, because if it wasn't for Anthony Cat going to New York, he probably would have still been in New York.
Yeah, so, playing with his Villanova brothers, Then
exactly.
Then AT&T wouldn't have made that commercial, So, but it is what it
is. Leaving the team to take it from the court to the boardroom and making making money.
Hey, man. It's a clever commercial though. You can't lie.
It really. I saw that. I was like,
the commercial's hot.
Damn, yeah. But you know what? I will say this about DiVincenzo. His defense has improved. He's playing some pretty good defense. So, yeah.
So we're gonna switch gears from the association to the Shield. T, you wasn't on last week, but I wanted to ask you, what do you think about this Shador? That whole him falling in the draft, was that his doing? Was they being petty? The NFL? What do you think?
Yeah, so last week I was at home. I was in Minnesota with the fam. So, I think it's collusion.
Okay,
I really do. And I'm not one of these conspiracy theorists, but I think it's collusion because I've never seen a highly projected player drop that far, and unless they have had some baggage, and he has no baggage. I think that the baggage that people say that he has is his family and the confidence that he has, and he has his own media team, the whole deal. And I will tell you this, so get ready, hang on to your seats. Here comes a name drop.
All right.
So a couple weeks ago, I went to the Apple store to get my computer taken care of, and who do I see as I walk in is Ronnie Lott. And yeah, and Ronnie and I are friends.
Yeah.
So I went over there, and Ronnie and I sat there for 2 hours while our computers were getting worked on, and we just talked, and the technician started sitting around and listening to our stories. And we brought up Shador. And Ronnie, knowing Dion, said all these stories that are coming out saying, "Oh, he was terrible in the interviews." The whole deal. He says, "Do you really think that that Dion is going to let his son walk into an interview and not be prepared?" He goes, "There's no way in heck that this is going to happen."
Yeah.
You know, I really believe this can. I thought it was, I thought that everybody got together and said, let's teach this young cat a lesson. And I think it's terrible. So
I appreciate you for it.
Yeah,
thank you for that.
well, but also too, nowadays with Cleveland, let's see what he's going to do, right?
Yeah. And I think for me, I think it's maybe a blessing in disguise because Cleveland ain't never had one, and he's trying to prove himself. So it, depending on if he gets a fair shake, it could really work out both sides.
But see now, and you said a fair shake. Now we have to look at this too.
Yeah,
he's 4 on a depth chart. How much time are they going to give him? That's the thing. How much are they going to let him be on the field with the ones and so on and so forth? That's the thing we have to look at.
And to me, because I think to me, Kenny Pickett has more experience, but Shador has a ceiling, a better ceiling. Dylan Gabriel, we don't know. He's undersized. I watched him. I'm sure you did too with him playing in Oregon.
Yeah,
he's just small. It happens. All small quarterbacks are not created equal. You got Drew Brees, can throw for 5,000 yards. Russ, he can move that pocket. Which one can Dylan do? I think it's going to be interesting to see.
Well, we have to look at it this way. And this is the way, they look at the depth charts. So Flacco's is going to probably be their number one, unless Kenny Pickett beats him out. Unless he beats him out during training camp, right? So those two are going to get a lot of time. Gabriel being the 3rd round pick, he's probably going to get more time to start with than Shador is going to get, unless Shador really does something where they're like, oh my goodness, this is great. But also too, let's not forget that there's some teams that could use quarterbacks, and there may be a trade during or after training.
And they own conference.
Well, but also too, now that Derek Carr has retired, what are they going to do there?
Wait, they just drafted the boy from Louisville.
But that leaves them only 2 quarterbacks on the roster.
They got 3. They got Rattler, some other cat, and somebody else. It's 3 of them now.
Are you talking about Taysom Hill?
Well, no.
No, it's 3 quarterbacks. I forgot what his name is.
Is Taysom still in the room?
Yeah. So, and I think Taysom got hurt. Did he tear his ACL? He did something where he was out towards the end of the season.
I do remember that.
Yeah. So they got 3, but I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. So they're and the thing is that, so let's say, and this is another thing that could possibly hurt Shador, is you only have 2 preseason games now.
Yeah.
So how much is he really going to play? And how much are they really going to get film on him while he's playing in the NFL? But he's got enough film from when he played at college where it may pique somebody's interest and say, you know what, we need a quarterback. Let's see what we can get for Shador.
So to that point about Carr, does it put New Orleans in a bad spot?
Not a bad spot, but it sounds like they were kind of prepared for this.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about the offseason too, is that you don't have to report any injuries at all.
Right.
So they've probably been knowing this for a while.
And what was his injury again?
His shoulder. His throwing shoulder.
Shoulder. Okay.
Yeah. So they
But didn't he have surgery late in the offseason?
I don't know if he had surgery late in the offseason. I know that they sat him down the last few games, right? Because Spencer Rattler played. But you do medical evaluations at the end of the year. You're after during your exit meetings. So they knew that there was something there. And they just weren't sure. Huh? Go ahead.
Wasn't the thing about him he may sit out all next NFL season?
Yes. Yeah. So again, they were looking at different things where, okay, does he do surgery? Does he just need PT? What is it? And they weren't sure. Well, now something came through where they're like, this is worse than we thought it was.
Yeah.
So now he decided to retire.
Well, happy retirement. I know it ain't the way you wanted it, but
dude, you name me one athlete that walks away on their own terms. There's been a few.
No, you're right. You're right. But I think a lot of people look at like the Rodgers, the Paytons, and the Bradys. Everybody can't do that. 15 plus. Yeah. That's a lot of something.
Oh yeah,
dedication to do that.
You're right. He played for 11 years. That's a long time. That's a long time of getting hit. All right.
100%.
Especially when you
always don't get teams either.
So, I'm about to say exactly. I'm about to say that they had
17 weeks of some bull is like
But he is if I'm not mistaken, he is the Raiders' all-time passing leader in yards, percentage, touchdowns, so on and so forth. So,
ain't he the longest tenured Raiders quarterback?
Probably so. Yeah.
It ain't many. I mean, you got him. You got Rich Gannon.
You got Stabler,
and that's just 3 between.
Yeah.
Between when they started to now, so it's like maybe
for the Raiders.
Yeah,
Raiders.
Well, and you got who?
Jim Plunkett.
Yeah, he only played a couple of years there. Remember, because he came in late. But you got OG's favorite who came out of LSU. The number 1 draft pick.
Oh no, Mr. Russell.
What the hell is that?
Mr. Jamarcus Russell. Oh no.
Mr. Country Boy.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it. I was like, who? I don't even like LSU.
I knew exactly where he was going as soon as he said your favorite. I'm like, damn. OG, read his playbook. But I don't know. I mean, you make a good point, though. Maybe he could end up in New Orleans like everybody thought he would to begin with.
And here's, I think this is my opinion. And here's the sad thing: you had these teams that worked him out who said that they liked him, but when it came down to pulling the trigger, they didn't do it. And some people are going to look at the coaches, they're going to look at the GMs. Sometimes it comes from the top. Sometimes these owners said, "Nah, we don't like him." Yeah,
it's unfortunate.
Because if you think, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
If you think about it, look how much Mike Tomlin liked Shedeur.
And that's the one that didn't make sense to me.
Pittsburgh had 4 different chances to draft him.
You took Harmon. And nothing against Harmon out of Oregon.
Yeah.
But it's like, who?
Yeah.
Just saying. You could have got the boy. At 20, they could have got the boy out of Marshall.
Yeah.
I don't think he went to the 3rd round. If you're gonna skip over, and we don't know how Marshall or how Harmon is gonna pan out, but why not get another rush in? You don't know how long TJ Watt got.
Well,
I know you got Highsmith, but can you ever have enough?
Well, the thing with Green that came out of Marshall is he had those 2 sexual assault accusations following him over there. And do you think that Pittsburgh wants just even a little hint of that again?
That's true. But now he's with your division rival. So whoever your quarterback is, keep your head on a swivel, son.
Well, and the thing is that some teams are willing to take chances on certain players, and some people aren't. And that's what the whole Shedeur just.
Yeah.
I shook my head like, okay. Yeah, this guy is supposed to go in the 1st round, and I'm talking about Green, but he has 2 sexual assault accusations coming behind him, and he still goes in the 3rd round.
Or hypothetically, you could have got Burton, Luther Burton out of Missouri, the receiver.
I like Luther Burton.
You just let him go to your other one just went to Dallas.
Yeah.
Dallas looking real good. Me and OG talked about it the other night. They looking real good offensively, boy.
Okay, so let me ask you this, OG. How do you feel about the trade?
At first, I was like, why trade for someone when you can get a free agent? But looking at the age, it's just one of them. And then you break it down, he's not looking for an extension right now. So if he messes up, okay. All we gave up was a 3rd-round pick. I know that's just a lot saying a 3rd-round pick, but it's not a 3rd round and having to break down and open the checkbook right now. But I think it makes us one of the scariest teams in the league right now. If the offensive line holds up.
How old is he?
24.
Really? Damn, I didn't know he was that young. Yeah, he is still very young. He just in the beginning of the prime. Well, he's still in his prime.
Yeah, so he's just coming out his rookie contract.
Damn.
Yeah, I think
no, that might be a steal though. I mean, hindsight 2020. If he does what he's supposed to do, that could be a steal.
And that's the thing. If he does what he's supposed to do, because we know that he has a little dark cloud over his head about his performance, his attitude, the whole deal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and he was projected to be a 1st-round draft pick, but they got him in the 2nd round. And I think it was that little dark cloud, and plus I think he had a knee injury when he came out as well.
How you laughing, man?
He said the little dark cloud.
hey, he right though. That shit is dark.
Yeah. So
but that's how I feel too. He just got to come in, and if he does his job, then we'll be all right. Then it's just trying to sign it. If they want to sign him or not, then that's on them.
This is what I think. I mean, again, I'm biased because I've worked with Mike T, and I think he's one of the best coaches in the league. If you can't play under Mike T the way that you're supposed to, I think there's a problem. But going to Dallas with a first-time head coach, but you have a strong, and I put that in high guard, a strong GM who ain't going to play with that stuff. I think that's where you can probably see a difference. Is where Jerry's like, dude,
I'm about to say, ain't
Jerry
that
here?
Yeah, but also, hopefully it sinks in his head that, hey, I didn't even get out my rookie contract and I got traded because of my attitude. My attitude can get me put out the league.
Or my attitude can not give me the money that I think I deserve, right?
Right.
So,
right.
So, yeah.
How many teams is really trying to get it? Were we the only one?
We don't know. And that's one thing about Pittsburgh. They keep things under wraps. So you gotta figure that. So this did leak out, is that he was a possible trade on draft during the draft. That did leak. There's possibility, but nobody pulled the trigger for whatever reason. Who knows? We don't know. But Dallas did. Again, I think we all know that everything flows through Jerry. And and I think that one thing about Jerry Jones, sometimes he may be too hands-on, but sometimes he don't play right. He's like, we'll give you a shot.
Oh no, yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, he'll give you a shot, but if you cross him, that's it.
Yeah,
that's it. Especially if it's on a shot.
Right.
Hey.
So what do we have? 70 or 65 days till training camp starts?
Yeah. And schedule release is Thursday?
Wednesday. 14th.
Oh, it's Wednesday. Ooh. Yeah. Okay.
At 8 o'clock.
We're gonna see when Dallas come to the shot.
Ain't no problem. We ain't never scared now.
No. I didn't say you what. See, you're projecting. I never said that.
No, I'm not. Just letting you know. No matter when we get there, we ain't never scared. So it ain't no projections. I'm just letting you know. That's your projections.
No, I just said y'all coming to the shop because we have
Hey,
been
and I said
talking
we ain't
about
never scared. It doesn't matter. That's all I said. It doesn't matter. We ain't never scared. And you jumped out and said something. Hit
Hey,
dogs will holler.
it the other day.
You can be never scared, but you just got to win, right? So that's for everybody. You got to win.
Just win, baby. Hey, but no, if it's anything after October, we're trying to
I already told you. We can go straight to the bar, brother.
Hey, no, hey, I ain't gonna lie. It's very after like Halloween.
Oh,
It's
dude.
like that time when we came down there for Dallas and Atlanta. It's a little colder than that, so it's.
I know. I've been to Chicago in March.
A little colder. Shoot, it's freezing.
Shit, a whole lot colder.
Thank you.
Hey, don't do that. We right off the lake.
See, don't do that. We right off the lake. Don't try to give excuses why you cold. You cold. Talking about it's because it's the water off the lake.
Dude, it's cold.
Y'all cold. Y'all cold.
I don't care if it's water off the lake or just the hot coming through. It's freaking cold. You kidding me?
It's like the wind wait for you around buildings. So you to walk out like, oh, it's not too bad. As soon as you pass the corner of a building.
It definitely do.
Especially in Soldier Field. That's wide open space. Are you kidding me? We played one of the coldest games there against the Bears, and then we had nerve to go into overtime. Like, are you kidding me? And I'm freezing. Like, come on. We ended up losing the game, but still, we was like, this is. And we were up big. We lost the game, and it was cold.
Well,
chicken broth never tasted so good in my life. Like, good Lord.
What year was this?
I want to say it was 2001, 2002, I think.
Oh, because I was going to ask you, was you on that Niners team when Nathan Vasher returned that missed field goal, like 108 yards?
No,
and it was real windy that day.
No,
I wasn't there.
We lost. Jeff Garcia threw a slant to T.O. It hit T.O. in the hands and it bounced up. And Mike Brown ran it back for a touchdown in overtime.
Oh, Mike Brown.
Yeah.
You talk about somebody that could have been, if he could have stayed healthy, boy. Lord,
yeah. He was a good player. He was a good player.
He couldn't stay healthy.
Yep.
That was his only problem.
Yep.
But I mean, it's gonna be interesting. This schedule. I'm just excited to see some of these games. See how Dallas look. Because like I said, that offense, I may play with y'all on Madden just because.
Don't forget, half our defensive line was hurt, so our defense is going to be stacked too.
True.
Just letting you know. 3 or 4 ends was hurt.
On the defense in the draft?
Yeah, we got 3 or 4 people. We got the DN from Boston College. We got the corner from East Carolina. We got the nose tackle from UCLA.
And you forgot you got the DC from Chicago.
Oh, I was wondering when you.
I mean, well, was that do we consider that a draft pick?
No, that was a free agent acquisition right there. So
you're gonna be productive.
So yeah, I think we did about 50-50.
Yeah, I think OG with you guys, the most interesting thing to see is how Schottenheimer actually coaches, being a first-time head coach. That's going to be the interesting thing. But like any other first-time head coach, you surround yourself with people that have been there before. So that's why I think bringing Eberflus, even though he wasn't a very good head coach, he was okay. He's a good defensive coordinator. He really is. So
that's what I mean. That's what I heard. But it's like I think a lot of I think a lot of our assistant coaches are from college. They picked up a lot of cats from college this year.
But
Mm.
they
D
picked up cats.
line,
But they
the
picked
D
up cats.
line, the O line. I think.
But they picked up cats from college that had NFL experience, though, if I'm not mistaken, right? That's it.
I think. You know what? I think so, T. I think.
And while we talking about teams,
Yep.
T, how do you think your Niners and your Vikings did in a draft?
I think and this is what I can't stand about fans
Mm-hmm.
is the Niners went where they were supposed to go, and they picked up defensive players. That's what they needed because their offense is still pretty good, right? And people are like, "Oh, that's not a flashy pick." Some flashy picks aren't going to get you to win games. They're not going to fill voids and holes, right? So, but here,
can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
What's the definition of a flashy pick before you continue?
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm just asking because I don't know. So what's the definition of a flashy pick?
So, I think I have an answer.
Go ahead.
Like a receiver,
or somebody that they've heard of.
So,
like
running back.
So like when the Niners passed on Jalen Walker, the kid out of Georgia. Some people around here is like, oh, because he played at Georgia, like, oh, because they know the name, that's what they look at as a flashy pick,
Yeah.
Michael Williams is a good player,
yeah,
and I trust the Niners. I trust their scouts. I trust their coaches, and here's the thing, and I think John Lynch said this. That some teams wait like a week, maybe 10 days before the draft, before they bring their scouts in, and they sit down and talk. The Niners, even when I was there, we did it 3 to 4 weeks out, where we brought in our scouts and everybody sat down in the room and talked and looked at things. Okay. Now these teams that wait, again, people can do whatever they want to, but we know that the draft is a crapshoot sometimes, right?
True.
100%. And in my opinion, where you look at a successful draft is not what you do on day one, is what you do the days after that, the further rounds, where you find those diamonds in the rough. And I think the Niners have done, in the past, they've done good jobs of finding, if you look at some of these successful teams, those are the ones you can tell that really do their homework, right? So
yeah. So what you think about your Vikings, man? How did they do?
They did okay. They didn't have a lot of draft picks. They filled some
had
needs.
about what? 4?
4. They only had 4. Yeah. But they filled some of those voids through free agency. So, but and here's one more thing about the Niners is that everybody's thinking, oh, they finished last in their division last year, and they're going to repeat, at the bottom of the division. Have you seen their schedule?
Yeah, I read it the other day. Y'all got like the second easiest.
Something, and again, when they said the second easiest, I always say, there's really not. When you go on the road, there's really not an easy game, right? But if you compare talent to talent, the Niners could possibly go to the playoffs.
Go ahead, champ.
You're on mute. You're on mute.
What's you gonna do with your quarterback?
Oh, they're gonna sign him. They're gonna sign him.
You're waiting right before training camp?
Possibly, but again, they're not really worried about it because they still have a year left on his contract. But right now they're signing all their rookies, getting all that stuff done. But they're going to sign him. I mean, if you don't sign him, what's your other option?
Hey, I thought they did that early. Got that out the way.
Well, but here's and we all know that if you have a good agent, what it sounds like that Brock does, they're going to play the long game. They're going to try to get what's best for their client. So
no, I get it, but I mean, I guess it's a different scenario and a different story because it's the 49ers and not the Cowboys. So if it was that's all you've been heard. Why you don't pay him yet? Why you don't pay him yet? You don't hear nothing. So that's why I was asking.
And here's the thing. It's sometimes, and it's both sides sometimes, right? That when you go into a negotiation, sometimes the agent will drag it out for whatever reason. And then the front office will drag it out for whatever reason. When you already have something in principle, you know what you can afford, and you know that both parties want the same thing. But sometimes people, and I think it's in sports and in big business as well. People have egos. They just do. They go in there with their own egos. They do what's best for them and not what's best for their client. Sometimes you're just like, you already know. You already have something in principle. So just go ahead and get the damn thing done. So
True.
I get it.
You got a point.
Yeah,
you got a point.
It could be a pain in the butt. So
Yeah. And I ain't gonna lie, like we was talking about the draft picks and things, about the flashy.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer the linemen. The Bears made 2 flashy picks. I was like, what are you doing?
But if it's a need, right?
Huh?
If it fits a need, right?
I didn't think so. I mean, I guess you can never have too many options as far as an offense, but we got one, like I tell OG, we got one lineman that can block out the sun.
Yeah.
I don't really know what that means, but live your life, dog. He blocks out the sun. Okay. So when do we play the sun? Because
y'all live in Chicago, so the sun is like very rare. So there you go.
Wow, that's crazy. Don't do that. We got the sun today.
Hey, OG, I forgot.
He just said today. He said today.
Hey man, look.
Hey. But
I ain't even talking to him no more. What's up, T?
Hey, but OG, after Halloween, we know it's like the vampires.
No,
they're all happy because the sun ain't coming out, so they can be day walkers in Chicago. So.
No,
you see Wesley Snipes walking all over the place. Day walkers.
No, they're not. We get plenty of sun.
Yeah. Okay.
Summertime sky.
For a month. For what? 2 months?
No. From May to like September.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Hey, you gotta fix this camera, man. Why I keep zooming in on you? You got a new camera? You got a new phone?
Yeah, I told you I got a new phone.
Because when you side-eyed, it got real close to you.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how to change that yet. And I'm not really even worried about it.
OG,
I'll figure it out.
I went on the Cowboys' website to see their coaching staff. I forgot that they brought on Ken Dorsey.
Really?
Yeah, as a passing game specialist.
Miami.
Remember, I was asking you about it.
Yeah. I forgot.
When they. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but then also too, they got this other dude on there. Taiwan Underwood. He's got a high top fade. He looks like
that name sound familiar.
He's been in the league for 3 years. So, but he's the assistant wide receivers coach. But he's got a high top fade. I'm kind of rocking with that. I kind of like that. He's bringing it
back. Yeah, we got to. I mean, it's a diverse coaching staff, bro. It's crazy.
And you're right, because they have what 1, 2, 3, about 4 guys that 1 year experience.
Straight from college.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
I mean, that's why I say I can't really say how we're going to be, because I don't know. Like you said, we don't know what this coaching staff, how they're going to call a game, how the players going to respond. So just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But if everything falls in line, we do have a scary team on paper, which I know we don't play on paper, but on paper we have a very scary team.
But you guys are in one of the toughest divisions there is too. So.
And I think we got one of the toughest toughest, or are we kind of in the middle with our schedule this next year? Well, this year coming up. So
I think you guys are kind of in the middle. So
Y'all will be fine.
down there with y'all, damn it. Fuck. I would love to be in the second easiest schedule.
and y'all, I don't think the Niners don't play the Cowboys this year at all. That's been a first for a long time.
Really? They don't?
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah. Well, we shall see. So, gentlemen, before we get up out of here, seeing that it's Mother's Day, y'all got any stories? Any funny stories about you and your mom's interactions?
We would never be able to come back on live again. So I'm going to just tell y'all that off limit.
All right, we'll do that. Hey, are you in that same boat?
Well, I got a few, of course, PG stories, but the some of the good stories you can't put out.
Yeah, you can't. I'm sorry. I would love to, but it would be sounding like this. And then she said, "I was just a." And I didn't even say that. I just looked at her and she just kept going, saying, "You need to be," and that was the end of the story. You know what I mean? So you wouldn't get the gist of it. What about you? You the same boat?
No. The way it's looking when you point it, you was pointing at T.
No, I'm pointing just that way. I'm looking dead at you. Yeah. Oh, I went that way, so I need to point this way.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The same boat. Can't do it. Definitely wouldn't do it.
He said I can't do it. You got to remember, we got black mamas.
Exactly. Precisely.
I can
black strong mamas. So
I can tell you the story where I scared the bejesus out of my mom, and actually I got a couple good stories for you guys. So
all right.
My mom used to make us go to church every Sunday, and I hated it. And I stopped going when I was 15 because I got a job. And then I said, put me down for every Sunday.
Damn, where were you working at when you work on Sundays?
Fast food restaurants. When you're 15 years old, that's all you can get, right? Fast food. Okay. I used to work at a Hardee's.
They delivered a newspaper on Sundays. Damn.
No, Hardee's. Even if you deliver a newspaper on Sundays, it's still early in the morning, so you still got time to go to church, right?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't get a job at Hardee's. So, and my mom used to tell me all the time, like, you need to go to church. You need you need some spirit in your life. I was like, okay, whatever. So one day, my mom was upstairs on a weekday, and these dudes came knocking on the door. And I opened the door. It's like, yeah. So what's going on? They're like, oh, we're Jehovah's Witnesses, and they're like, we'd like to tell you the story about Jehovah. I said, come on in. They sat down. They started talking about it. I said, Mom, you got company. So she comes downstairs, and she comes down. She sees it, and I leave. I got my bike, and I left. And all I could hear was, Terrell James Jones, you.
Oh no. That's crazy. You let him in and then you left. Right.
He said, yeah, come on in, sit down. You need some water?
Hey, y'all gotta take our shoes off. We don't allow shoes in here. Y'all gotta put them on. Take them off.
I offered them water because they weren't getting the red Kool-Aid. Sorry, no, you need some water. You didn't get
no, I get it. But for you to say, yeah, come on in, sit down, Mom, you got company.
So the other story was I was getting off of work. It's probably like say 10 or 11 o'clock. And we used to have like this big picture window. Well, it's still there at the house. So like, so you could walk by and you could see. My mom and my brother, my youngest brother, was sitting on the couch. They were watching Carrie. So the door was open, and I opened up the screen door real quietly, and we had this sectional couch that you could just crawl under because it was pretty high off the ground.
Oh,
and I crawled under the couch and I waited. And if you've seen Carrie, you know what happens at the end. I grabbed them both by their ankles. My brother tried to get him and run. Mama, she got me. He falls on the ground. My mom is screaming and running, leaving my brother there, and I'm just on the couch just laughing my ass.
T,
yeah.
All I can say is I'm glad you're here to tell these stories.
Man, dude, that is funny.
I am so glad you were around to tell them stories, because some mamas, they'd have been like, hey, funeral's next week.
That's the good thing about having cousins that only live a few blocks away from you, because I can go and stay with them. So yeah.
Boy, that's funny.
He said, I am out.
Yeah, because there's I walk into my cousin's house, because it's cousins. We walk in, right? My aunt would be like, "What'd you do this time?" And I was like, "What do you mean? What did I do?" Because I know you did something, because that look in your face. I'm like, "Yeah, okay."
And you're breathing kind of hard, like you was walking with a double step to get down here this time.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
Boy, that's funny. Go ahead. Oh, you got one?
Nah, like I said, mine is. No, the only thing I can say is like my mom and her friends Saturdays. They would, Soul Train come on 11, 12 o'clock, depending on where you at. It came on 11 in LA. So about 10:30, I get the, hey, get them go to the store for us. All right.
Yeah.
It was a bag of corn chips, Fritos, 2-liter Pepsi, and cigarettes for both of them. Now, mind you, I am 10 years old.
I'm going to ask you that. Yes.
I am 10 years old.
You got all that.
You go to the store. Back then, your mother could write you a note.
Yeah.
To get the cigarettes. But you do it one time, the dude knows you.
Yes.
You never have to bring the note back.
Yes.
So every Saturday morning, I'm walking to the store, a big bag of Fritos, a 2-liter Pepsi, and 4 packs of cigarettes.
So,
and my mother would be like, and all she would say was, "Here's the money. You know what we want, and be back before 11 o'clock. Do not play with your friends."
Okay, so let me ask you.
Was this the OG with the Jerry curl?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You ain't never seen that picture, T?
No.
Yeah, he had a Jerry.
You never seen? Oh, okay. Never mind. I'll send it to you.
Hey, it looked wet, but it was wet.
Dry,
right?
It was wet. So
it was wet.
So, OG, were they Cools? Were they Newports? What were they?
Cools, I think.
Yeah,
Cools and Newports.
Yeah, my mom smoked Cools. My uncle smoked Pall Malls.
I had one. I knew somebody that smoked the Marlboros. I was like, I don't even see how you still living.
Oh yeah.
Them things used to stink.
So let me ask you this: did your mom ever throw house parties on Saturday nights, Fridays or Saturday nights?
Saturday nights. Let's say if they didn't come to our house, we went to my cousin's house.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have cards. You be up all night. The get-togethers were planned. So birthdays, 4th of July, all that stuff was at our house because we had a big backyard.
Yeah.
So everybody come to our house, but it was like father cooking, kids running up and down the street. But the everyday hustle and bustle, it was just figuring out whose house they was playing cards at and how long we was gonna be there. If it was just the night or we staying the whole weekend.
Yeah. So
Damn,
for us,
the whole weekend.
Yeah. So for us, it was like rotating houses. So like this. So like my cousins used to live like right next door to us. But then we moved across town. We went from the west side to the east side, like the Jefferson. And then my cousins exactly. And then my cousins did the same thing, but they were like 4 or 5 blocks away, which is walking distance, of course. But Saturday nights, it would like rotate houses, like whoever was throwing the party, and we would be sitting on top of the stairs watching. Go ahead, Lurleen. Go ahead, Portia. Y'all getting it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or you hear this? T, come show your auntie that new dance you learned how to do. Come show them that dance, baby. You'd be like, I am not no show puppet.
It was usually like my sister or my cousins, because I could do the 2-step. That was one of those two. But the sad thing, the bad thing about it though was the next morning. Who do you think was cleaning up that damn house? All of us.
Yeah, the kids had to do it.
Oh man.
What you thought?
All the cigarettes and Suave. This is before the red Solo cups. We didn't use they used glasses. So guess who had to clean them damn things?
Damn.
Us.
Yeah,
Yes.
you couldn't just throw them away. Yeah.
And you better not break a glass.
Oh, good Lord.
Or even these. Man.
He said, "Oh Lord, yeah, don't break a glass."
and the dishes had to be done before they go to church. Like, really? Okay, like wait, y'all partying on Saturday, talking smack, but you're going to church on Sunday. Okay.
And what time was church?
9 o'clock.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, black church, and you have a couple of services too, right?
Yeah,
8,
yeah,
9,
yeah.
whatever it is. Yeah.
It depends if they say you got to go to Sunday school or you got to go to church.
Oh, dude. Sunday.
I'll take Sunday school because you get out of Sunday school early.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
How far?
That's why I was like, I don't know nothing about what y'all talking about, but
No, I do. I do. But like we have a town here called Markham. Anybody that's from the south suburbs know about Markham. So my great grandmother lived in Markham. She literally her church ended a block. So you had no choice if you were staying with her, no choice but to go to church. Then you got older. Then she was like, "Baby, you want to go?" It's like, "Nah, Granny," because it was a lot of us. It was like me, my 2 cousins from Maryland. So it was like 3 of us, and then we had a bunch. Black families. You got cousins that ain't your real cousins, but blood couldn't make you any thicker. Any stronger.
Right.
So it'll be 5, 6 boys in the basement. I'm talking about pitch black. Grandma, she just get up, she'll cook, get ready for church. My grandfather never went to church, so she didn't even bother. She just let him be. But hey, stand with her, you going to church.
Oh yeah.
And
that's my grandmother in Arizona. We call her Big Mama. You went
Yeah.
down there for the summer. You was at church Sunday
Yeah.
to Sunday. Every day of the week. If the pastor had a dinner, you was there. Bible study week, you was there. So I get it. And my grandfather didn't go neither. So when she gave us opportunity, hey, you stay with your big papa. I'm staying home today. I'll watch it. I'll listen to baseball on the radio. I do not want to go to church. I do not.
So we got a new pastor. I think it was 12 or 13. We got a new pastor, and we knew it was this was not gonna be any good. Because he was not a football fan. He was not a Vikings fan.
What? You just knew right off that?
Yeah, we knew it wasn't going to be any good because he was not a football fan. He was not a Vikings fan whatsoever. So that means those church services start at 11:30. He's going to go till 1 or 2 o'clock. It's like, this dude he's not a Vikings fan. He don't watch the NFL. So we had to go. We're begging to go to, at least I was begging to go to the early service. So I get the heck out of there so I can go back home and watch some football. But no, once he said that, I was like, I mean, I kid you not. I think one of my cousins said this. When he said that,
You said at 12 or 13, y'all knew it wasn't gonna be no good because he wasn't a Vikings fan.
Hey, what is wrong with you, man?
Now, I thought you was about to say it was 12 or 13 of us that felt that way. You said at 12 and 13, we knew.
I knew, yeah.
He knew it wasn't gonna work out. Oh, he knew it. He said
He knew because he wasn't a Viking fan. He didn't say a football fan. He said a Viking fan.
Yeah, so that means the sermons are going to be long. And when he said that, my cousin from Ohio, she was visiting us. And he said that, and they just looked at my face. My cousin said, you look like they just shot your dog. And basically they did. Those early services, if I had to go, man.
You are crazy.
Oh. T, I'm done. At 12 or 13, I knew this was not going to work. Oh, my God. That's going to be my quote from now on.
That boy, a quick learner. He knew. First Sunday, it ain't going to work, dog. You tripping.
Like, dude, like, really? And then, so then when I got into high school, then his wife became one of our school counselors. So she was
whose wife? The pastor?
Yeah, his wife. The pastor became one of our school counselors.
What are the odds?
I can't win for losing. I can't get away with shit around here. Like, damn. And then again, by then I had a job, so I wasn't coming to church anyway. But she knew. She's like, boy, Mr. Jones, we ain't seen you in church. Like, I'm working. Other days you can work too.
He said, "There's a reason. There's a reason."
Oh God, T, stop! My stomach hurts. Stop, bro. Oh Jesus Christ!
I was a mess growing up. I was a mess.
He said then her wife became a counselor.
Yeah, she became a school counselor.
But you know what's funny? Go ahead, T. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, but if I look at the flip side, the good part about it was because I went to a school where there was only, like in my graduating class, I think there was only 10 blacks in my graduating class. Of course, we knew each other, and there was only a few Native, Americans. Yeah, we knew each other. Yeah. So,
you didn't have to throw the disclaimer in there. Yeah, of course we knew everybody. We knew each other. If there's only 10 of you, I hope you know each other. Wait a minute. Out of the 10, how many was related to you?
Well, in my graduating class, none, because my cousins were. I had a couple that were 2 years older, 1 year older than me. Then I had one that was a couple years below me.
Okay.
Yeah, but so of course, you're gonna experience some racism, there, even though they call ourselves Minnesota nice, but there's still racism wherever you go. She was our go-to. Like when we had problems, I would go straight to her office. And you guys know how my attitude was or still is. I would go to her when I had a problem. As a Mrs. Brown, I'm about to lose my mind here. So she would sit me down and talk to me through things, Mm-hmm. And I mean, there was, and actually, she helped us start the Black Student Council as well. So she was our go-to. But of course, after every meeting, or after every time we talked to her, she's like, "Remember, church is on Sunday, starts at this." And I would turn around, look at her like, "Come on, like we just had a good session. Come on, now. Don't make me feel guilty walking out this door. Come on now,
don't mess this up, lady. Come on now."
Exactly.
We were going just fine 10 minutes ago.
We were great.
Let's get back on that track.
Yeah, and then the guilt in the back of their head. So yeah.
Well, that's funny. But the funny thing is, my great grandmother was real church heavy. Her daughter, my grandmother, you talk about football, boy. Look, she would wake up exactly 1 hour, maybe an hour and a half before the Bears game. She would do whatever she needed to do. She was watching them Bears. She wasn't trying to hear nothing. She wasn't trying to hear nothing.
Yeah.
But She loved them Bears, boy. You couldn't tell her nothing about them Bears. My mom used to tell me when she was growing up, she would my grandma had a whole like Sunday morning preparation for the game. Because here the game started what 11 in the Midwest. The game started at 11. So grandma would put whole spread, boy.
Oh,
Whatever. She'll cook night before or that finish it that morning of. She was watching her Bears, but and I used to when I want to watch the game, I'll find a way. No, mom, I'm gonna go to grandma's house. She at work. No, she not. She said she off today. So she said she worked for the post office, but her weekends was off. Now sometime she would go to work. I'm like, she off. I just talked to her.
wow! How,
She,
how,
I am on the way over there now.
yeah, I
And
was going
she's
to ask.
walking distance. Grandma
I was
literally.
going to ask you, how far was she away from you?
Grandma was like here. We had a corner house, so pretty much take the one street all the way around. It was a park, and then I made a quick little left, quick little right at grandma's house. Good. I was like,
He said,
we watched the game. Hey, man. I would find ways to get over there the night before, just so I could act like I was asleep. Because my mom is very church heavy, similar to your mom, T. But man, look, I was trying to find a way, boy.
Oh yeah.
I'd be like, Grandma, go ahead.
Oh gee, so what about you? So did your grandmother live in the same city as you were growing
nah,
up?
that was the fortunate thing. One of them lived in Arizona, the other one lived in Texas. We didn't live in the same state until they moved to LA right before I left for school.
Which one were you
So
closer to?
that's why I say our summers were packing up. Soon as school hit, we was either in the car that night, or the next night driving to Arizona.
Yep.
They was getting y'all up out of there, huh?
Oh, bro, they weren't playing. And when I say for the summer, first day, I didn't get back until 2 days before school started. Mother did all the school shopping and everything. I just told her what I wanted. So when I came back, I had maybe one full day, and the next day or the next 2 days, I had to get ready to go to school.
See, I think
every summer until I was about 15.
I think that's in the black mother's hand guide, because we did the same thing. Because my parents are originally from Ohio, from Columbus, and as soon as school ended, maybe even the day after, we had this old station wagon. Well, it was new at the time, but it had you had the front seat, you had the back seat, then you had the further back seat that faced out the window, right? The old Kingswood. So we would pack that thing up and we would drive to Ohio. And we would stay this summer, and then, like you said, we would get back. School shopping's already done. Clothes are out there. The whole deal, And we brought some stuff back from Ohio because my grandmother would, go to school, take us school shopping as well. So yeah, but I was closest to my grandmother on my dad's side because my dad died when I was 2, and I was closer to her because number one, I looked just like my dad, and my grandmother said, "Your attitude is just like your father." So, and of course, I wanted to hear all the stories, but I wanted to stay with my grandmother. I wanted to stay with her anyway. But yeah, I mean, and I love both my grandmothers to death. My mom's mom, Swab, you'll like this. She lived 6 blocks from Ohio State.
Really?
So we would walk down to Ohio State sometimes and just kind of look at the campus and stuff. Yeah,
that's the one you say you go see when you was when y'all would play in Ohio, right?
She passed by the time I got to the Niners, but my other grandmother was still alive on my dad's side, so I would go see her all the time. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I remember you mentioned it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I miss my grandmothers, man.
Man, hey, mine too, man. Mine passed away. She had a stroke, and she never really got back right.
Yeah.
She passed right before the pandemic.
Oh.
Right before the pandemic. So And she was she was that grandma. Anything goes. You want pop? There you go. You want a Pepsi? There you go. Want some cake? There you go. You want ribs? There you go.
Whatever
and,
you want, baby, you can have.
and, hey, boy, look, man. My mom, she didn't like it because she was very health conscious.
Yeah.
But grandma, she making some ribs.
Oh.
She making
I, I,
some cube
I always
steak.
want to know. I always want to know both my grandmothers, church.
Mhm.
First ladies, all the church ladies, and all that.
Yeah,
Both my grandfathers never won,
that's how my great grandmother was. She
and
was the
I
she
never
was the
figured out
grandma.
how are you so religious, and he don't go. She said, I go and pray for the both of us.
Yeah, but
I said, okay.
you think about it these days, certain people wouldn't be able to deal with somebody like that, and it's like, look, you can't
Facts.
force somebody to do anything.
Yeah.
You know, somebody be like, "This ain't gonna work. You don't want to go to church." Grandmas did it all the time back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Grandpa stayed at
that's when
home.
marriage meant something, though.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
That's. I think that's the biggest thing now. Now I think marriage is a business transaction.
Yeah, so I
For some
agree with you. Yeah, sometimes it is. Yeah, yeah, but no, you're right. Marriages back then was like there was no talk about separation or divorce unless somebody really really messed up, right? You know, but my grandmother on my dad's side, they used to have this big house. Well, when you're little, you think houses are big, and you're just like
Until you see it, you're like, how do we stay here?
Until you go back as an adult, be like, damn, how was we all cramping up in this house?
Exactly.
How was we doing this one?
So they had this big sun porch, and they had a couch out there. They have games off to the side, but they had this big table, and we would sit there, and my grandmother would, probably like yours, OG, and so too. It's like they would make these big meals, and then we would sit out there and they would bring us the meals, but then my grandmother would make apple pie from scratch with a big thing of lemonade. You couldn't get me out of that damn porch. I was like,
hey, my great grandmother used to make ice cream from scratch.
Oh.
So did we, with the Turner and the salt and
yes,
yep.
And every Friday, fish and spaghetti. She'll make enough, no matter who coming by. This is my great grandmother. No matter who coming by, all summer, and it used to be so many of us at her table that I would. I remember I had to sit on a garbage can one time to sit at the table and eat because there was so many of us, and it's like, well, you gotta do what you gotta do. It is what it is. And then, like, my cousins from Maryland, my aunt would bring, they would come in for the summer. We'll be, we had a big wheel. We all taking turns. We had a bike. I don't know how we got a ram in the back, but we was just doing stuff. We just doing anything. And then she had a tree that pretty much overlooked her porch because her house was kind of high. So you walk out the kitchen back door, she got a porch. Her tree kind of laid over the porch, which those were the switches. So,
Don't you run from me?
Yeah, exactly. Go get your weapon. It's like, I'm not gonna do it. But yeah, man, it was good times. We used to do pretty much we used to do Thanksgiving, Christmas, pretty much everything over there. And then, once she passed, it was different. And then, my grandma, my mom's mom, she could make just about anything. That you talk about a cook, man, she could go. And then, it was good times. People, it's good to grow up with your grandparents.
Oh yeah.
Because like you said, you see things then that you don't see now. Like we just said about Grandma go to church every Sunday. Grandpa watching the game, but she don't force him to do nothing. He don't force her to do nothing. They just let each other be.
Yeah,
and they get along just fine.
exactly.
Or she'll give him a list. She'll be like, "I need all this for dinner, so can you get it?" While he'll be like, "Don't worry, it'll be here when you get back."
Oh yeah. Yeah, my mom's mom was really smart. Well, both my grandparents. I mean, my grandparents were really smart, but my mom's mom was really smart because grew up. She didn't know how to cook. So when she married my grandfather was a chef on passenger trains.
Yeah.
So she learned from him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. So when we would come to visit, it was like Christmas and Thanksgiving feast rolled into one. She would just like everything else.
Yeah. I hear.
Yeah.
She didn't have to portion stuff out because he definitely showing her how to feed 100 people.
100%.
That's how my grandmother was. She'd just be making stuff, and it'd be cube steak with rice, and or another thing I used to love that she made, her pot roast.
Oh, dude.
Boy, let me tell you.
I will say this. My grandmother got to the point, we call her Big Mama, got to the point to where she would make you a big breakfast first day you there.
Yep.
Last day you there. In between, if you there for a week, fend for yourself.
Yeah.
Oh,
if you there for the summer,
it's serious.
You fend for yourself. But that first day, that last day, she's gonna throw down. And on Sunday, she'll throw down every now and then. But it was just too many of us. It's like 10, 12 of us there at one time.
Oh, jeez.
And but like for me, we call my great grandmother Big Grandma and her daughter Little Grandma. So I used to stay with them a lot because my mom worked nights. So it was me, her and my great grandfather a lot. So she was just like most older ladies. She had the news on. She'll wake you up.
Yep.
You dress,
And that was it.
Yeah. She'll cook a little something. It'll be something basic, like some eggs with grits and bacon, or grits and stuff. Something real basic. But she made sure you was eating something.
Yeah.
And as I got older, like I was with my little grandma, my grandmother, a lot more because she was starting to go to work less and less, retire, things like that. And she was the same way. She can make some malto meal.
Oh. Okay, so let me ask you guys this.
Boy, look. With some eggs, man, look, boy.
Suave, growing up in the Midwest, did you ever have a wheat tina?
I probably did, but I don't. That ain't what we called it.
What is it?
So it's a hot cereal that's made, mostly wheat, and Suave, ask your parents, dude. Because it was only sold, I think it was only sold in the Midwest, but it was so good. And my grandmothers would, oh my God, they'd make pots and pots of that. And I was like, it was like I couldn't get enough of it. So, we would take some pots.
That's how I was with malto meal, boy.
Dude. Yeah.
So is it like malto meal or like grits?
It's like malto meal. It's like malto meal. So so I mean, again, you know how it is when you go see your grandmothers. They would have so much stuff. They would give you a choice. Do you want grits today? Do you want wheat tina? And I'm going back and forth. Like whatever you fix, I'm going to eat. But this is how conniving I was growing up. So when my mom remarried, my stepdad's parents were not. They didn't like us because we were stepchildren. Because we were stepchildren until my brother came along. He was the baby that came from my stepfather, so he was like, he was like the golden child, like, oh,
yeah, he was the holy grail, yeah.
What the hell? So the times when we had to go stay over at their house, I was not having it because we couldn't do the things we could do with my grandparents. Like Like we would get up early and have cereal. I don't call her my step grandmother, but that woman would be like, "Y'all need to go back to bed." I'm like, "What are you doing?" So I would pull shit. I would do stuff that would get them mad. They're like, "Okay, you need to go see one of your other grandmothers." I'm like, "Okay, good." And
that's all I wanted to hear.
Hey, I already had my bags packed. I was like, and my sister was right behind me. My sister's like, "What are we gonna do this time until we can get the hell out of here?" I'm like, "Okay, we can do this." So, yeah.
Oh man, see, y'all was plotting y'all's exit strategy early, boy.
Oh hell yeah! So I can tell you my first ever drink, I was like probably 10, came from my grandfather. PBR with a little bit of salt in it.
Blue Ribbon was mine. No, Old Milwaukee.
Oh, same thing. They came from the same brewery. With a little bit
We
of
would
salt
go
in it.
right. This is now. This is Granddaddy. This is my mama's side. Granny and Granddaddy. He's one of them that they stayed in Bahia, Texas. So the crack of dawn, he's feeding chickens by 6:30, 7 o'clock. Breakfast by 7:30. He's on his way to the lake every single day to fish.
Yep.
He gets off the lake, then he takes care of business. He'll go to the bank, do all his other stuff. It's all this running around. And we'll drop either if we catch enough, he'll drop the fish off, grandma cut and clean it, and he'll come back and fry it. And if we didn't catch enough, he either got dinner or she'd go out there and get one of them chickens, bring the net, and we'd have chicken for dinner.
I'm like y'all. I miss my grandparents. I miss them a lot.
Yeah.
No.
And it was so weird to me because you know how you talk to him. You like, so when were you born? My grandfather said, I was born in 1900. I said, 1900 and what? He said, no, 1900.
Wow.
I said, so you was around for the Depression and all that? He said, yep.
Yep.
So when I got to that part in my history book, you know where I went, hey, does this sound about right? He was like, put that book down. Let me tell you what really happened. I was like, thank you. And go into class, and of course, all that stuff was wrong.
Oh yeah.
Because they wanted it out of the text. No, because they wanted it out of the textbook.
Yeah.
The answers out of the textbook. I'm giving you real life answers.
Right.
Yeah. They was like, nah, I was like, hey, were you born in 1900? Were you there? I got these answers from people that were there.
Yeah.
So how you gonna tell me it's wrong? Well, did it come out of the book? No. That's why it's wrong.
And it was funny.
I said, oh, okay.
It's funny you say that because my grandmother, she was a very high yellow woman, like Steph Curry high yellow, and she had very straight hair, but she was black. You know, my great grandmother, her parents were white and Indian. Father was white, mother was Indian. So you know, you can see it. This is her in her older years. This is my great grandmother. And
that's Big Mama. That's the big one or the little one?
This big grandma.
Okay. I just want to get the name with the face. That's all.
This is my little grandmother, her daughter. Man, you talk about the most pro-black lady in the world. She, two of my favorite movies that I kind of started watching because of her, A Time to Kill and Mississippi Burning.
Yeah.
People be like, "How the hell you find these?" I was like, "It's a long story."
Yeah.
But
I don't feel like getting into it.
I think she would just watch them movies just to get more enraged, like grandma.
She pull out the dashiki and everything.
Yeah, like granny. Nothing you can do. Nothing you can do. And she was him, and she had a mouth. She MF. I'm like, grandma, we know what happens already. She's gonna die. I can't believe they used to do that shit. I'm like, we've seen this a million times. We know what happens. We know.
So like you on my mother's side, my great grandmother was a slave.
Okay.
And she escaped and joined a Native American tribe in Georgia,
Wow.
and married the chief. And you know what? And we had a picture of that. I don't know what happened to it. Somebody boosted it, but it was a picture of her standing and the chief sitting down with a full headdress.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, the stories my grandmothers used to tell us. I mean, I back then that we had recorders because I would have recorded everything.
Yeah. I wish I would have recorded more because she and my little grandmother, she knew pretty much all the family history.
Oh yeah.
She was anything you needed questions to. She had, she knew.
She was a go-to.
Yeah. So, the way the way she was taken was, crazy. But, it happened right before the pandemic. And, but yeah, that was the homie for sure.
Oh yeah.
And I just want to say this before we get out of here: for all those that have lost their parents, grandparents, mom on this Mother's Day, I know it's hard, but just think about the good memories. And I can't tell you how it feels. I don't know, but I just want to say, hey, just think of the good stuff, especially on this day. I know it can be kind of tough. I can imagine. I can really imagine.
Especially, for my mom, I want to say I love you, because, my grandmother was her mother.
Yeah.
So, I know she going through it. So as soon as we get off here, we're going to go laugh and eat and be merry. But I know it's tough for her,
Yeah.
It's just
speaking of that, I gotta call my daughter in LA.
When my grandmother died on my dad's side, she was my last grandparent. She died when she was 93.
Yeah.
And actually, her birthday is May 14th, so it'll be NFL. It'll be scheduled. So I'm like, So when I got the call that my grandmother was in the hospital, I was like, shoot. So called her. She goes, I'm tired, honey. She goes, I'm just, I'm hanging on. I'm tired. I'm like, all right. I said, I'm making a flight right now. She goes, okay. I kid you not. 30 minutes later, the doctors called me and said she passed. And, I lost it because I was very close to her. And they said she didn't want to talk to anybody but you. They said she was hanging on just to talk to you. And that right there just threw me. I was like, oh, my God.
Sound like my big mama.
Yeah. I mean, and my grandmother used to always say, you're not supposed to have favorites. And she would tell everybody in front of everybody, you're not supposed to have favorites, but TJ is my favorite. I'm like, that's right. That's right. Because I look like my dad. So yeah.
I was too.
And I would use that to my advantage.
I think that we can say the trifecta for that one. That was both my grandparents' favorite.
Well, the thing for me is me and my grandfather, my grandma's husband, have the same birthday.
Wow.
We were both born October 2nd. So for my mom, it's bittersweet because he died when she was like 5.
Yeah.
So it's a bittersweet day, but every time I go to Arkansas and see his family, hey boy, you look just like him, boy. That's crazy how genes work. I'll be like, all right, okay, all right.
I got you. Yeah, that's crazy as hell.
That's like your granddaddy. That's crazy. And he was big into motorcycles. And he just lived his life, man. He was from Arkansas, and then I remember my father's side. They're from out west. If you know anything about Chicago, out west, out west. But so I remember going to his parents' house. My grandfather, his name was Daddy John. He was an old man. He had a little part. Old black man with a part. He had on like a Mr. Rogers sweater, and he had a pipe. That boy,
Mr. Rogers sweater. I love that.
Pipe, hey, and he wasn't a big dude either, but he struck fear in people. He wasn't a big dude whatsoever, but he struck fear. and my grandmother, Mama dear. It was I had some good times, man. With all of them, with all of them, with all
You
of them.
know, when my grandmother came out and said that TJ was the favorite, and then of course my siblings would look at me. They're like, "You're not the favorite." I said,
Yeah.
"Okay, I said you have to break it down. You got to look at it the math wise." They're like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I am the favorite because my dad's birthday is April 12th. Mine's the 25th." I said, "So we were born in the same month." I said, "None of y'all were born the same month as Daddy." They're like, "Whatever." I said, "So and Mama's birthday is May 14th, which makes her a Taurus like me, and none of y'all Tauruses. So stop. I've got it hands down right now." They're like, "There's something wrong with you." Like, there's
Yeah.
something wrong.
You doing mathematical problems, boy. You need to cut it out.
You know what the thing is? I wasn't even good at math. I just did it for my own advantage.
Oh shit.
Hey, so Swab, I'm going to tell you this. So my dad was a barber as well.
Yeah.
As you. And so his shop, my sister just found his old business card.
Yeah.
His shop was 540 East 47th Street in Chicago.
Send it to me.
I will. Yeah. I will. I think I looked it up. I think it's like condominiums now or something, but
Yeah, probably very gentrified,
unfortunately.
like everything else.
All right,
But,
gentlemen, I'm gonna have to get on off and
yeah.
get ready to get on out of here.
All right, good people. We appreciate y'all once again. Happy Mother's Day from
Yes.
Nyo Weekly. Myself, the OG, TJ Jones, and 950 Kev, who's on his way back from a graduation. Kev, safe travels. And we'll see you all next time.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll be good.
Oh, okay. Peace.
Hold on.